Greetings from Bangkok, Kasit Piromya once again. The tape recording of this video is taking place in the month of May 2024. And the month of May, from my point of view, is the most auspicious among all the months of a given year. Because in the month of May, we Buddhists around the world celebrate and commemorate the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing away of the Buddha. One of the greatest thinker, philosopher, religious teacher, and spiritual practitioner in the history of mankind. The Buddha was born a prince in a small corner of northeastern Indian subcontinent more than 2,500 years ago. So he was born an ordinary human being, ordinary man like all of us. Nothing special or particular, just an ordinary man who by the age of 29 decided to leave all the comforts of life as a prince to seek answers to the human sufferings. Being born, getting old, getting sick and die is part of the sufferings of mankind. And in the context of the Indian subcontinent societies of those days, there was the belief in the rebirth, reincarnation, or as well as the law of karma, cause and effect, and so on. That what you do, you obtain the results of your own doing. And if you do good, you might be reborn in heaven. If you do bad, you will be in hell, and so on. So that was the sort of a general belief among the peoples of the Indian subcontinent 2,500 years ago. But what the Buddha, after 6 years of searching for the truth, for the answers why humans do suffer, he came out with a set of answers and recommendations to all mankind on how to lead one's life. In other words, he attained the enlightenment, or he discovered the true nature of existence. And with his discovery, he came forth to share it and to provide a sort of a guideline to our everyday existence, which has been lasting to this very day. What he has discovered, or what he discovers, was that one cannot lead a life of extremes, self-indulgence or self-mortification and so on. One has to have a life of middle path, in balance, in moderation. Second, life is unsatisfactory. Life is full of suffering, uncertainty, ephemeral. Life is always changing. Nothing is permanent. And there is no such a thing as a permanent self or a permanent soul. And that's the reality of life. And the universe or the world has no beginning, has no end. It just moves on, expanding and contracting. And life goes on with so much unsatisfactoriness, so much of the uncertainties and sufferings and so on. But man, each one of us has the ability and the capacity to get out of this predicament and the circle of life, which is called samsara, by developing the mind and be above or get away from all emotions of greed, of delusion, and of anger. So it's a human ability that can release man of the human bondage. So he believes in human ability and he has realized it, he practiced it, and he has shown it and recommended to the generations, his contemporary generation and generations to come to this very day. So how do I look at the Buddha or Prince Siddhartha? From my humble point of view, Prince Siddhartha was quite a social, revolutionary figure because he was thinking, telling, teaching and practicing more or less out of the box and against the trend of the days, such as belief in ghosts, in supernatural spirits, in gods, one permanent God, and in the endless circles of lives of birth and death. He rejected all of this and said that everything is impermanent and there is no such a thing as a permanent soul. And one can get out of this predicament of life suffering and uncertainties and unsatisfactoriness by developing from the inside, by developing the mind to overcome all the emotions of greed, anger, and delusion, and to observe and to look at life, everyday life, as something, as an experience, but not to be attached. And in order to prepare oneself for the liberation and emancipation from the bondage of sufferings and the recycle of life, every human being maybe more or less has to do maybe practically three things. One, to observe the 5 precepts of not trespassing other people, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lies, no misinformation, no bad words, and to be away from various types of intoxication. So that's a daily precept for everyday sort of physical conduct. But at the same time, human has the capacity to be good to the other. Like the act of generosity, the act of compassion, the act of equilibrium, equanimity, and so on, that one can do good for the other people with compassion, be helpful, be forgiving, and be kind, and so on. Then the third point is to have that self-development, the cultivation of the mind, to be strong, to stand firm against the various types of emotional, such as craving, of jealousy, of anger, of hatred, and so on. So the instructions or the recommendation is not complicated. It looks simple. But somehow it's very difficult to put all of them into practice because we are very much involved with our everyday life, concerned more about the physical well-being. And we do not have the time for self-introspection, for us to sort of pause and reflect and recoup our sense and sensibility, to be more rational, to be more circumspectual in life, and to respect the society and the feelings and the position of the others. So within this month of May, the auspicious day of the Visakha Bucha Day, celebrating and commemorating the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing away of the Buddha, I would like to invite all of us, urge you to pause a bit and look inside and reposition our everyday thought, speech, and practice. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากครับ